Today on the Game Marks podcast, we get extreme when we play ECW Hardcore Revolution. We are also joined by ECW legend Danny Doring and Game Marks local, Mr. Nick Stapp, to discuss what went into the making of this legendary game, and we decide if we will play it forever or future endeavor.
You're fired!
Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles, because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am George Feast, and along with us today, Nick Stapp the third. I'm just going to say the official, unofficial third seat of this podcast, Mr. Nick Stapp.
Nick Stapp the third. So that would mean that my grandfather and my father are both Stapps also.
That's
Nicks.
us.
And then,
we are your
and
grandfather.
then your cousin Scott.
Oh, okay, good.
This week we are playing ECW Hardcore Revolution.
And not only are we joined by Nick Stapp, but later in this podcast, stay tuned because we're going to hear from ECW, former ECW Tag Team Champion and original Danny Doring. Now, he was actually the last ECW Tag Team Champion as well, but he did the motion capture. He did, obviously, the voiceovers for this game that we're playing today, so we're going to hear some cool stories. And as always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen. And join the conversation on social media at Game Marks Pod. What's up, my Georgie?
I'm your Georgie? Listen, John, I'm not your Georgie.
Okay. You're the only Georgie I know, so.
Okay, that door works. I will take being your Georgie. All right, that sounds good. All right, I'm okay with it. I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, we're in the middle of the NHL playoffs. Both of our team, we're in right now. We're in the official round after winning the qualifier. So as we're sitting here talking about this lovely game, I'm also dual screening a hockey game because, you know, we're both sitting here in our Islander jerseys, and yeah.
This is literally the most distracted I've ever been recording this podcast ever. And we have a guest, and we have another guest, and we did an interview. It's a lot. There's a lot going on, and I just want to watch hockey.
And Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good. It's been a fun ride with you guys. Going back and revisiting this game that I literally have not played for about 20 years. Other than that, I'm good. I'm just trying to stay alive. I just got my first COVID negative test back, so big old
That's
thumbs
good.
up.
That's good
I
to know
guess.
you're
I don't
alive.
know, maybe.
Can I just say that I'm a big fan of the guitar videos that you've been putting out? I think it is a breath of fresh air on social media, and it's just fun to see you having fun playing guitar, which was a skill that I was not aware that you had. So
I
super cool.
almost forgot that I had it too, so it's fun to revisit things that I did for a majority of my life.
So fun fact about this game we're playing today. This was actually, when we played this for Game Marks Mania, everyone kind of left the Twitch channel. It was that boring. So now, today, when you watch our Clash at the Feast on YouTube, I'm just going to say, it might be the same level of quality, match-wise, but I hope we save it with the commentary because, it was a doozy. But speaking of good games, last week we played Def Jam Fight for New York. Ooh. We both gave it a big ol' play it forever. George, how are you feeling about that?
I guess it is, it's still walking that line, so we'll see. Maybe we'll have to revisit it again. Maybe I'll play it on a live stream. We'll see.
I'll gladly revisit the game because I owe you now. I owe you like a whooping in it. I don't know. Anyway, we have a free giveaway going on right now where you could win the Steel Cage Challenge plug and play for free. Did I mention it's free? This goes until November 1st when we pick our winner. All you have to do is leave us an Apple Podcast review, screenshot that review, and send it to us on social media, on Twitter at GameMarksPod, and we will choose a winner. Also, did you guys see our exclusive 1-year print and t-shirt are still for sale on GameMarksPod.com/shop? I'm just going to say, I ordered these prints. They came in. These are gorgeous. I'm ready to take my silver Sharpie and mark in the ones I like, even though, my thumbs up already there, but just to play along.
Now, in addition to that, I'm going to, we've been saying we're going to announce another contest, and we were saying that we're going to do after the Steel Cage Challenge one is done. But no. It's a big episode. We have Danny Doring, Nick Stapp. You and I are here, Johnny. I'm announcing it right now.
Ooh.
The new contest is, do you want to be the voice that introduces the podcast? Well, have we got some wonderful news for you. Send us any voice clip that is not sounding like you're in a tin can, and just intro the podcast. The same way that you hear Dave Sturtio introduce it now, we're looking to refresh it and maybe have something as an alternative for either special episodes or just if it's that great, we'll just use it forever. So record yourself saying, and now the game marks, or whatever variant you think would work.
Just like that.
All you have to do.
And now the game marks.
Now the game marks.
And
that's
now,
it. Nick wins. Nick won.
All right.
So all you have to do is send that saying to gamemarkspod@gmail.com. And yeah, can't wait to see what you guys are able to put together.
Now, speaking of can't wait, are you ready to get into some gaming news?
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
Last week, Xbox and 343 Industries have announced that Halo Infinite has been delayed and will no longer release this holiday season along the Xbox Series X. Instead, the new Halo will release sometime in 2021. According to 343 Industries, the delay is a result of the team needing more time to deliver the game they want to deliver. The developer doesn't say if recent feedback about the game's visuals has anything to do with the delay, but it's possible, given how much blowback the game got when its gameplay was revealed last month. 343 Industries adds that COVID-19 pandemic has also caused considerable disruption to the development pipeline. Unfortunately, there's no word when in 2021 the game will release. On the other side, Sony has once again confirmed the PlayStation 5 is definitely still launching this year. The new confirmation comes way of an interview about marketing the PS5 in conjunction with the release of the first live-action commercial for the upcoming next-gen console. This isn't the first time that Sony has confirmed that the console is still on track for launch this year, and it's likely not the last. Now, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War has finally been revealed for the PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. After months and months of numerous rumors, reports, and even leaks, Activision and Treyarch confirmed what the world has known for a while. This year's new Call of Duty will be a reboot of the Black Ops brand, similar to how Call of Duty Modern Warfare rebooted this year. As you would expect, accompanying the reveal is the game's first ever teaser trailer and our first official look at the title, which will be the 17th overall installment of the series, and the first release since the free-to-play Call of Duty Warzone hit earlier this year. And that's all the gaming news we have today. Check back next week. Alright, so we got on one end of the spectrum, the PlayStation. They're on track. But then we got the top game that's supposed to be the main seller for the Xbox Series X, which might be pushed back an entire year. It's possible.
I mean, it's also going to be free to play, so.
But isn't it like kind of the main point right now? Like that's kind of like the main reason people want the Xbox for Halo. It's their staple.
Yeah, I know, but it's not like, I don't know. I'm torn. So you know that there's going to be a lot of microtransactions in it because they have to make their money somehow. But I mean, free to play game being delayed, even though it is Halo, not. I don't know. I feel like there's opportunities for more companies to step in and kind of take that spotlight.
It's kind of later in the pod, you'll hear Danny Doring tell us a story how he got a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out without the console. It's kind of be like the same thing.
Yes, pretty much. But with that, I think it's time for my favorite segment, especially when we have a guest. It is now time for the question of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Johnny Clash, and I'm here to tell you that the Game Marks podcast have their own pro wrestling tees store. Brace yourself, because the Game Marks podcast are on ProWrestlingTees.com with 4 brand new designs that are guaranteed to be the next big thing. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod today and play it forever. Marks.
All right, so the question of the week is a segment where we go back and forth and we ask each other questions, and then we like to propose the question to you as well as our guest. Last week, it was my turn to ask a question, and I said, what game deserved a sequel that may not have got one? And Nick, if you had to answer that question, what game do you wish got a sequel that did not get a sequel? What answer would you give?
Trying to think. Most of the games a majority of the games I'm most into were franchise games. And even like GTA 3 is like probably my favorite game of all time. Technically got a sequel. It was Liberty City Stories.
Yeah.
Kinda. I mean, it was a spinoff, I guess. But like, you can't. What else can you really do with that?
Yeah.
I guess. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know, Fester's Quest. Did Fester's Quest get a sequel? That's all I can think about.
Day
I
of the
don't know.
Tentacle?
Like, there was a Driver 2. There was.
Yeah.
I don't
You can get out of
know.
the car
I'm
and
trying to
walk
think, like,
and take another car. That's all
Yeah.
you could do.
so exciting.
So there was one we got from someone that was kind of like the most obvious one, and it's No Mercy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Mayhem.
Mayhem, yes, thank you. Even though
Mayhem
Backstage
2.
Assault does not count, but fun fact, Mayhem 2 is supposed to be developed by AKI, so it kind of would have been a sequel to No Mercy in a way.
It would have been different.
It would have been different, yeah. But that's a good one, I think. I think if the consoles didn't pass us by at that point, we got a really good sequel to No Mercy. Mm-hmm. But it's my week to ask you guys a question.
Consoles passing us by, and WCW going out of business.
Yeah. So, if you guys could put together your own wrestling game, similar to like a Virtual Basement, a Retromania, like what our buddy Gacto is doing with kind of like his ultra-violent game, what style would it be? Who would it feature? And what type of story career mode would you have?
I want the podcast wrestling video game where it's every wrestler or wrestling personality that is on a podcast, and yeah, that's the game I want.
So what that's isn't that what Mike Herman said Retromania was supposed to be?
They were supposed to be YouTubers.
Okay.
So
what type of game?
I want podcast fighting, but I want it in the style of let's do something stupid. So let's do podcast wrestling in the style of Saturday Night Slam Master,
I'm into
where
it.
everything is over the top and everyone has like crazy power ups.
Where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Pretty much the Whose Line Is It Anyway of wrestling video games.
Cool. Nick?
That's my pick.
So I don't know if this goes against the rules, but basically, I want to say the most recent. So I would want because I think someone was doing an indie wrestling game a while ago. I don't know if it went anywhere or if it ever came out or.
It's still in development, we'll say.
Yeah. So I would want something like the way it might have been like the way like Xbox took MLB the 2K series, how there's like you're coming up through the minors and you have to like pass all these weird challenges. So I think it would be interesting now if they did that, where it's like So like in that game, like you're playing in the minors, let's say you choose to be, a second baseman or whatever. So it's like you have to lay down a bunt, and if you lay down this bunt, you get 3 points or whatever. But like I think it would be interesting if we took it on like a modern like lower level wrestling, lower level like indie wrestling, where it's like, okay, gift one of your cool moves or whatever. What do you do with it? Something like that. Like I know that's like kind of weird, or like, oh, like a fan yells this thing at you that like, what do you do with this? Like I don't know, just like kind of taking like weird X factor variables with, I guess tangible situations that us lower level independent wrestlers go through. I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering the question properly, but
hey, I mean,
I would say like kind of like a, once the 2K series actually became a good game when it got away from PS2 and went to Xbox and whatever PS3, PS4, that sort of style of game. Even it doesn't even have to be indie wrestling; it just be regular wrestling. I haven't played a new wrestling game in a long time, so this could have happened already, and I apologize if it has.
No, well, you're better off. You stick to the old ones. I'll just say stick to the old ones.
Yeah, stick to the old ones.
Okay, so like I was playing SmackDown 4 recently, and like that season mode is cool when you create your own guy, but it's like, oh, you're gonna fight Al Snow on Heat, and then Farouk is gonna challenge you because he's mad at you. And then if you win that, then you get to do a tag match with Al Snow on. It's like there's no real like linear anything to it. Where I feel like this would be more of a personal touch if we did it this way. But this would also take someone to actually want to do it, and I don't think anyone does. So that's my idea to it.
Cool. All right, and I think I would do. We all know I like my WrestleMania the arcade game. I think I would do that, but like...
Can I guess you would have an all-Sting roster of all rafter matches?
No, I wasn't even
Sting
going.
has had enough looks where he can fill out an entire video game
That's true.
roster,
An all-Sting game? I wasn't even going there. I was going to say
wait,
my friends.
Can I tell you something that's really cool that I found the other day that I need to let you know? There's a game that is a custom No Mercy mod where Sting has... in an update that's coming out soon, where Sting has 25 costumes.
Jesus.
It's
all right.
Every variant of Surfer Sting, all the versions of Crow Sting, then they have like all the TNA, like Joker Sting and all that stuff. Like
that's pretty cool.
Everything. It's nuts.
Is that Feel the Bang?
No, it's the people who made Showdown 64 are now working on a new mod called AKI Evolution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
And
I'm familiar with
there's only like 12 people on the roster right now, but Sting is one of them.
And he takes 20 slots.
Taker's got like 25 or 30.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Does it have like really gross dry hair WrestleMania Sting?
Yes.
All right. So anyway,
Worst look.
Like I said, WrestleMania the arcade game. I want my friends in it. I want a story mode similar to like a Retromania where you're just getting little like screenshots of the guys talking and the story progresses. That's it. That's all I want. Mm-hmm. And as usual, we throw it out to you, the fan. Tell us what you want your own wrestling game to be like, the type of game it is, the game style, who would be in it, and what type of career story mode, or what would keep the people coming back.
All right, but with that, I think it is time for us to do our hashtag deep dive.
Hey guys, Johnny here. While we love talking about video games and wrestling here on the podcast, we wanted to share with you a new offer from our friends at Stitcher. An enormous amount of shows and bonus episodes are available on Stitcher Premium, such as Office Ladies, Comedy Bang Bang, WTF with Mark Aaron, How Did This Get Made, Bitch Sesh, True Crime Garage, Marvel's Wolverine, and plenty more. Right now, you could sign up for Stitcher Premium for only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year using our code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Head on over to Stitcher.com/premium for this amazing deal and a free month. That's Stitcher.com/premium and use code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Game on, Marks.
All right, so ECW Hardcore Revolution, released February 17th, 2000 for the N64, PlayStation, and the Game Boy Color. Also released February 29th, 2000 for the Sega Dreamcast, developed by Acclaim, and the Game Boy Color version was developed by Crawfish Interactive, published by Acclaim Entertainment. And this game feels very in line with the Attitude and Warzone series.
I wonder why.
But it was actually the first wrestling video game to have an M rating by the ESRB for all of the spots that you could bleed from.
Literally all the spots you could bleed from, because in this game you could bleed from everywhere. Your ankle, your pinky, I don't know. That blood just develops.
Happens.
Whew. That was something else. Now, there are a few game modes and match types to pick from. Your methods to win are pin, submission, countout, which was that a thing in ECW?
Like extremely rare.
TKO, which was if the player's health meter is completely gone, then they would be eliminated automatically from the match. But this is something that needs to be turned on. It's not something like in how in like No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 where that's just on and you'll see your opponent struggle. So there is also an old favorite, I guess you would say. It is the Decree of ECW, which is just based on the point system. If the time expires before anyone meets the win condition, whether it's pinfall, submission, TKO, whoever had the most points win. That's pretty much it. And, of course, again, not something that I think happened a lot in ECW, a DQ finish. Is that
I mean, I guess if you bought this game and you just don't like ECW and you don't like fun, you could turn DQ on. But
like what? It's an ECW game. DQs didn't happen in ECW.
No, you want all the blood.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so with these, there's also basic matches, kind of like our versus, our exhibition versus mode. There's the lumberjack, but there's only 2 lumberjacks outside the ring, so it's not like on TV where you see the whole ring is circled. So here's the thing. A lumberjack could actually win the match. Because say you have like TKO or DQ on, maybe they'll use a weapon when they can. Maybe they'll make a guy bleed in a first blood match, or if first blood is on. The match gets awarded to your rival then if your lumberjack somehow wins, which is a little crazy. So then with the versus mode, there's also options. There's like a little asterisk on the menu, which means that player 1 must defeat 4 opponents one after another, and you'll win. That's it. Then there's your handicaps, your 1-on-2, your 1-on-3, your 3-way dances, your 4-way dances. You could make both of those elimination. Then there's a battle royal, which is just a 4-way dance, but you have to remove your opponent from the ring, like a regular old, like a Royal Rumble match over the top or through the middle, I guess, in this game. This is done by performing either a body slam or atomic whip when the person is stunned, or by running into the ring ropes as the opponent climbs the buckle. Now, there's also a battle royal, which is just a recreation. They literally copied and pasted the Attitude Royal Rumble and put it in this game as a battle royal with 30 participants. Then you have your tag match, your tornado tag match. Then there's a handicap tag team match. Then there's an 8-man tag team match. Then there's a stable match where this match features 4 teams and 4 members, but only 1 member from each team is available at a time, and obviously last man standing wins. Then there's your typical tournament, which is a bracket style tournament. You have to keep doing these. You can't save and quit and come back to these. You have to do the tournament in one shot. So I guess that's something cool to do with, like, if you have friends over when you were younger or something, just to like make it a little interesting. All right, so then we got match types. This game might not seem like a big deal. This game had a ton. So match types, you have cage match, barbed wire, where there's barbed wire ropes.
Whoa.
George just put up a hand.
We have a guest.
He put up the X.
Who picked our match type for Clash at the Feast. I would like Nick to do the honors and read the match types.
Go for it, Nikki.
Are you sure, guys? Are you sure?
Yes.
I last time you guys let me take the reins on this show, we had a half-hour Clash at the Feast.
We'll be
All right, I'm doing it. I'm going in. Match types are as follows. We have a cage match, which is standard for Attitude and Warzone. We have a barbed wire match, which is a weird thing in this on this platform, where the ring ropes are replaced with barbed wire that causes extreme damage if either player runs into them. So basically, you Irish whip the guy into him. He gets stuck to the ropes. He goes and then he falls. It's literally like whatever you're picturing right now. That's what it is. We have a street fight where a pin and a submission attempts are valid outside of the ring. There are no there are no countouts. We have a death match where not only are pin and submission attempts valid outside of the ring, but the arena is literally littered with objects which may be used as weapons. We have a last man standing or last person standing match, as you may or may not see on Clash of the Feast. I highly recommend it, as long as you have some alcoholic drinks nearby. And they have a tough man match. I never played a tough man match when I played this game, but it's in a 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 match. The disadvantaged player must defeat all of his opponents before they can win.
Damn. Now, on each of these matches, you could also add on Iron Man stipulation, 2 out of 3 falls, first blood, I quit, or finisher only. Now, I'm just going to say, back in the day, I was a big finisher only guy just because I had this one friend who he was like impossible to beat in like all of these games, starting with like Warzone. I think I mentioned him. But once you hit a finisher, you're done. So if you just memorize one guy's finisher, by the time you get to that, you're done. You're good.
I think Clash at the Feast we should have done finisher.
yeah, right.
We weren't, but you can't look at the move list. You can't.
Fun fact: I didn't. I just guessed it.
Nobody decided that except you, George.
So something else cool here that we saw in a few other games. I want to say Mayhem had it, but it was a little different, where you put in codes and you got actual pay-per-view events. But there's a pay-per-view mode where you could name the event, select the matches, edit the stadium for it, and then play through it. And you could either save it, play it now, play it later, which I thought was pretty cool. I think I did this a lot back in the day. I would just name a stadium, name the pay-per-view, and then I would just never play it, though. I would just go on to the next one. And this game also featured everyone's beloved Create a Wrestler mode. Now, I don't know about you. I always had a go-to for some reason when creating guys in either, I don't know, it worked well in Mayhem because they had the outfit. I made them here. I used to make Kane all the time in these games.
I think a bonus question of the week should be: did you have a go-to creator wrestler? Like, did you have your guy that you created in every game? Because I did.
Oh yeah, it was always Madcat, Maddkatt.
Hell yeah, I had cameraman Bob.
What did he look like?
He looked like the cameraman Jax figure.
All right,
that's
reasonable. I guess
that's awesome.
His finishing move was a top rope elbow drop because he was shaped like he was going to do an elbow drop. Oh yeah, he was just I don't know. I guess he was just a cameraman who got dragged into the ring one time. Actually, I created him in my action figure fed back in the day, and then I was like, I'm going to use him in video games.
There you go.
See, I'm glad that we're all of the same mindset that we never were like, I'm going to make Johnny Clash. Well, now you do because you're an actual wrestler. But like,
Yeah, now.
but like as a kid, you were like, I'm going to make John. Like you always made like an actual, like you created a persona.
Yeah, I had a friend who in every single game would make Shaq. For I don't know why. Every game had Shaq. And
That's understandable.
yeah.
I can get behind that.
Playing
I was
UFC
not that
lately.
creative of a child.
No, playing UFC lately, I made the Joker because they had, I don't know, they just had the parts to make the Joker. And it just looks really weird when you get like these big jack guys, and then I made them really small and skinny, and it's just like this little Joker coming at you. But I don't know. I always made Kane for some reason.
One thing my friend and I did, not in Hardcore Evolution, but in Warzone, we always created because him and I went to junior high school together, so we created all of our teachers. So we had like our Spanish teacher was Mr. Saltero. He was like probably 450 pounds, but we gave him like Owen Hart's moveset, so we did like shooting star presses and stuff, and it was fun.
That's awesome. But speaking of these jobber characters, there are several jobbers in this game. They pretty much just put like any friend they wanted. They're just like, hey, you want to be in our video game? Here you go. All these characters are loosely based on Acclaim and ECW staff. Now, who is it? The music guy is actually in this game?
Yeah, Harry Slash.
Harry
Danny
Slash.
Doring actually gave us like a big behind the scenes on this, as far as like why all these random people are in this game.
Yeah, and they appear as opponents in the early stages of your career mode, which is just a tower mode. At first, there's only 3 of them available, but you unlock the rest by beating the career mode, and then all you have to do is press right on the character select screen, and it takes you to the screen of jobbers, and then press it again, and it'll take you to all your created wrestlers. But while we're here, do we want to read through this lovely, illustrious roster?
Well, I think that we have a tradition of letting our guests read through the roster, and I think
Pay your dues, brother.
Nick has proven time and time again that he is a much more reliable source. Also, it's not fun when you and I read easy rosters. So
yeah, you're right.
I say we this is Nick's time to shine, where no one will interrupt him.
We know the Japanese name on this roster, so it's not fair.
Yeah.
The one Japanese name on this one. You know, I listen to all your episodes, and I'm always like, I know how to pronounce that. Shut up! And I'm like I'm screaming at my phone or at my speaker, and I'm like, no, it's you know, whatever.
It's Ganishiro.
Tenru, yeah, it's Great Sasuke. God damn it. Okay. So we have a very, I mean, pretty much like this is not only the creme de la creme, but this is just everyone who was in ECW at the time, and some people who weren't necessarily there at the time. So start from the top. We'll start in alphabetical order, and then it kind of goes off the cliff after a while. We have Angel of the Baldies. We have Axel Rotten, Balls Mahoney, Chris Chetty, C.W. Anderson, friend of the show Danny Doring, Dawn Marie, Francine, Jack Victory, Jason, Jazz, Jerry Lynn, Justin Credible, Lance Storm, Little Guido, otherwise known as Nunzio, Mike Awesome, New Jack, Nova, Raven, Rhino, Roadkill, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Big Sal E. Graziano, Simon Diamond, Spike Dudley, Steve Carino, Super Crazy, Tommy Dreamer, Tony DeVito, Tracy Smothers, Wild Bill Wiles, Yoshihiro Tajiri, and then we have some secret characters.
You want to read
Some
these,
of
or you want me
are
to take them?
interesting. You can take them.
All right. We got Beulah McGillicuddy, Bill Alfonso, Cyrus the Virus, Joel Gertner, Joey Styles, Judge Jeff Jones, Louis Spicoli, Taz, The Sheik, and Tommy Rich. Now, here I think was my absolute favorite part of this entire game. You have a taunt in the beginning of every match where your character says, like a little voice clip. Joey Styles says, I'd like to see Tony Schiavone try this. And I thought that was a nice little, like, hidden Easter egg that you might have looked past as a child. I definitely don't remember that.
It's weird, too, because, like, Louis Spicoli was very, very dead by the time this game came out.
We'll get to that. That's enough fast.
Taz is in it. That's cool. I wonder, I haven't played this in a while. Did Taz do his voice?
So there were actually a few guys that were not in the company at the time of release, so I don't know. It's possible he did it before he left, but when we get down to the Did You Know section, we'll cover that. Now, we got some venues here. Like I said before,
Yes.
you could actually customize your own arena. I read somewhere, I don't know how true, that all of the WWF stuff is still programmed into the game, so you could actually somehow unlock the In-Your-House arena, which is kind of cool. But you do have...
Wonderful Game Shark.
You do have, as a base for your arena, house, like a house show. You have brick, which is the nice brick entrance that we know ECW to have. And then there's the Elks Lodge, which was always my go-to because I love the look of it. And you could change the stadium, the ring lights, the entrance lights, the ring mat. Now, on the ring mat, you could choose, you can make it Hardcore Heaven, Anarchy Rules, Guilty as Charged, November to Remember, Heat Wave, and Living Dangerously. And you could also change the ring apron, the pad colors, the post colors, the rope colors, and the banners. So I feel like this is just a past-day Fire Pro Wrestling at this point.
That was a lot. So
Hi, George, you're
do
here?
this. Yeah, I feel like I just let you guys go for a little bit, so I'm back now. So what I was going to jump in and ask was, so we talk about, how often we like to create wrestlers and do the entrances and stuff like that. Were you guys big into making like the custom arenas? I know that you're big into doing it now, John, in Fire Pro, but was this something that even back then you were like, oh, I want to make custom arenas and do all that?
Oh, 100%. Like I said before, I would do the pay-per-views, I would make the arenas, but then I would just never play the pay-per-view part. I don't know, like I said, I made Kane, but I think in like non-WWE games, I would always try to make WWE arenas and vice versa. So I'd always do like the red ropes and try to make it like Attitude style. I don't know why. Just to do it, I guess. But then you would do like the lights down, like red ropes and red entrance lights, and you would make it look like the Brood and all that. I don't know. I would just have fun with it. I definitely played this a lot.
Nick, what about you?
So what I would do, I didn't really venture too much into like editing stadiums, but when I did, it would just pretty much be to make the ropes a weird color. It'd be like, oh, I've never seen green ropes, so let me throw green ropes in there. Or, whatever. It would always be to like just experiment and see like what things could potentially look like, or like pink ropes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I would just mess around with it. I didn't do it a lot, but it would just be like, I just beat season mode or career mode, so let me just do something until I, move on to my next venture in the game.
See, that's never been something that I was like super into ever. I didn't know if maybe it was just me, but the creator arena never like grabbed me. I was always into like, you make a wrestler, do your entrance, make your finisher, like, super in depth in the character development itself. But for some reason, I just never, I don't know. Maybe I was a weird kid.
I loved customizing literally everything possible until we got to the later games where you could actually customize just too much. Like, I don't want to make a title belt. Like,
yeah,
the title belt's something that I did once and was immediately just like, what is happening? What is this?
But what about this classic artwork we have here?
The one that is this week's episode artwork, or the actual cover of the game? Because both are very similar.
The cover of the game, but I'll tell the story behind the artwork after from our episode.
All right. I'm going to say something. If it's dumb and I'm wrong, please cut it out so I don't sound super moronic. Now, to my knowledge, I don't know this ECW logo. Is this an ECW logo for the game, or was this actually a version of the ECW logo at one point?
I think Nick could answer that better than I could, because I honestly don't know. I feel like they had so many variations of their logo.
Yeah, ECW, like, obviously they had, like, the very familiar, like, the white logo. They had the, what was that, like, the one for the TV, it was, like, red or purple or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Purple and red,
like, I'm pretty sure they floated this one around every so often, maybe in, like, the magazine or something like that. Like, this one was definitely used at some point. It wasn't as prominent as, again, the white one, or like the blue and the purple one or whatever. But yeah, this was definitely an existing logo. I just don't remember where it would have been used. Again, it was probably in the magazine or like on a TV ad or something like that.
Yeah, because that's when I think of ECW, like just what you said. Like I think of the red and purple one, or I think of the all, like the red and black one, or the all white one. For some reason, I just like can't place this one somewhere. And I was like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not.
It's just like a 3D version of those, though, so it just looks cool, I guess. But you're right.
Yeah,
you should
I think
definitely put something familiar on a video game, especially your first game. But that's why you have Mr. ECW Rob Van Dam.
Mr. Friday Night right before Roller Jam.
Hang on.
And I believe...
Hang on.
Is that
Hang on. It's 3-0, George, with 2 minutes left. They just scored an empty net on a little flick. Okay, sorry. Go on.
So he's hitting a Van Daminator on Jerry Lynn, right? That's I'm assuming.
It looks like his tights, because I did model my...
Seeing a little bit on the trunks there makes me think that it's Jerry Lynn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, what more do you want in an ECW game cover than, Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, who are ECW, with a chair shot saying, like, hey, this is what we do, with that M rating that we've first seen in this game. Now, let's go to the back cover, because these screenshots, these are really good screenshots, I gotta say. They look like we were explaining before.
Oh, it's awesome.
These character models did actually look like the wrestlers. They was just something really weird about them. I don't know what. The proportions, I guess. But it's telling you that there's over 40 wrestlers. There's over 20 game modes, including three-way dance. First ever flesh-piercing barbed wire matches and brutal finishers and chair shots, with a nice picture of Balls Mahoney with his arms out holding a chair. Now, here's my favorite part. Real guttermouth crowd chants and commentary from ECW's Joey Styles. Was it really that guttermouthed?
I mean,
Not really.
For 2000, maybe.
Maybe.
Not even for 2000. What did the crowd say?
Clash.
4-0. 4-0. 4-0. Sorry.
The crowd said 4-0. Were the Islanders good in 2000? I don't know. That might have been gutter.
2000.
No.
No.
So it was Guttermouth 4-0. The Islanders are winning, and everyone said boo. I don't remember exactly what the crowd said. I haven't played this game in so long.
A lot of EC dub chants. That's all you need.
Yeah, and I feel like they also would heckle you and be like, you suck, Dreamer. Or
Yeah.
so
I just remember they would yell like for RVD. You just hear like a guy really, really often. This is like, Mr. Bunny died, or whatever. I don't know. I don't think there was anything like super offensive.
No, you're right. Like it was that, but then every now and then, like it wasn't like they were telling people to like eat shit or anything like that. But they would be like, you suck, and kick his ass.
Yeah.
Balls
she's
or whatever.
a crack
like
whore chants or anything like
yeah,
that.
No. No actual true to form ECW chants happening.
If
here.
so, we would have heard that at least 400 times during Clash at the Feast this week.
That would have been the only thing that you heard, just drowning out everything else.
So here we on the text on the top, it says often imitated, never duplicated ECW Hardcore Revolution, which is really funny because this game is literally a carbon copy of Attitude. So never duplicated. But they take you to hell and back with the most intense hardcore wrestling action the human body can endure. Remember, scars never heal. Ooh, that's a little deep for a damn game. Now, this came out...
That's interesting.
Yeah, now this came out...
But the scars remind
obviously
me
PlayStation.
that the past is real.
Yeah.
Obviously PlayStation, obviously N64, and it's the same thing as Attitude and Warzone. You're going to have limitations on the N64. Maybe it's the music, maybe the graphics are a little but overall, pretty much the same game. I can't speak for the Dreamcast version. I've never played it. I'm going to assume it's on par with the other disc versions like Attitude, but now we could talk about the Game Boy Color version.
So I watched a video today of a guy reviewing every version of this game. The Dreamcast version, the only noticeable difference is that the characters move a little smoother. Like it's not as choppy or slow as like the PlayStation version. I've never played the N64 version. I hated N64 adaptations of Acclaim wrestling games, so I would never go back to that. But yeah, it seems like they just moved faster, basically. And today is the first time. I was today years old when I found out that there was a Game Boy Color version of this game.
Yeah, it's not good. I had the Attitude for Game Boy, and it was also not good. It was also a very hard game because it just took so long to get your like finisher up and start like get the game going. But I assume this one's going to be similar. The art style of it is a little, I don't know. It's not terrible, but what was really weird was the crowd was always half empty. I mean, ECW was not half empty that much, like
Never.
Yeah. I don't know. A little weird. Maybe it like progresses as you go through or something, but I'm not sure.
So one thing I could say about the Game Boy Color version that I watched today on a few videos, like, okay, so which game was it? I want to say It was the only wrestling game I owned on Game Boy. I think it was like WrestleMania or Superstars or something. So it's like very like just, you know, one view and the guys only move this way or this way. So like the match I was watching, I think it was like Balls Mahoney against Raven. Raven falls down and then he just rolls up and down the ring, while Balls Mahoney is jumping to the top rope and giving him flying elbow drops. No matter where he is, he hits him. So
it's one
Game
of
Boy
those.
Color
Okay.
version might be a pass.
Yeah,
Might
we've
be a
had
hard pass.
We've had some weird run-ins with Game Boy games so far, at least Game Boy ports of like other games. But I figured this one wouldn't fail. So,
Game
But-
Boys, yeah.
but what do you say we head over to our new section, the renamed Fast Facts for Did You Know?
Did you know? Even though Louis Piccoli had left the company and died years before this game was pitched, he was added as a favor by Paul Heyman to Tommy Dreamer. In one of Dreamer's pre-match taunts, he can be heard saying, "This one's for you, Spicoli."
Did you know non-wrestlers and jobbers have movesets based on characters from the WWF Attitude? Joey Styles moves are copied directly from Edge.
Did you know several wrestlers left the company while the game was in development, but were left in as they had already been paid a fee for having their likeness and voices used, such as Mike Awesome, Sabu, The Sheik, and Taz?
This one blew my mind and actually made me upset. Did you know, according to in-game commentary, Angelica, aka Lita, aka Miss Congeniality, One Man Gang, Paul Heyman, and Rod Price were all intended to be playable characters at one point?
Did not know that at all.
Did not know that. Imagine Lita made her game debut in this game, but then also in like No Mercy the same year.
All right. Well, you know what, boys? We've been going for a little bit. I think I'm gonna get up and stretch my legs, and take a little R&R for a little bit, because I think, John, it's time to take us through some ratings and reviews.
All Game gives it 2 out of 5 stars for the Dreamcast, 1 out of 5 on the Game Boy Color, 2 for the N64, and 1 for the PlayStation. EGM rated the N64 version a 6.75 out of 10. Game Informer gave the Dreamcast a 7.75 out of 10, Game Boy Color a 2 out of 10, N64 an 8 out of 10, and the PlayStation an 8.25 out of 10. Game Fan rated the N64 version a 40% out of 100. Game Pro with a 3.5 stars for N64 and 3 stars for PlayStation. Don't know why. Game Revolution gives the Dreamcast version a D+. GameSpot gives it a 4.6 for the Dreamcast out of 10, 4.5 for the Game Boy Color, 4.2 for the N64, and 4.2 for the PlayStation. GameSpy rated the Dreamcast version a 2 out of 10. IGN gives the Dreamcast a 6.9 out of 10, Game Boy Color a 3, N64 a 5, and PlayStation a 4. Next Generation gives the Dreamcast and N64 version a 1 out of 5 stars. Nintendo Power rates the N64 version, obviously, a 5.9 out of 10. And OPM gives the PS version a 1.5 stars. And Game Rankings rates Dreamcast a 43%, Game Boy Color a 38%, N64 a 56%, and the PlayStation a 54%.
These ratings give me just what is going on here.
They are all over the
I was
place,
gonna
but it's safe
I
to
was
say.
gonna ask you to jump in, because you shook your head several times there. I was going to be like, Nick, what's going on? What's wrong?
So, according to Game Revolution, for those of you who have watched the movie Tommy Boy, this game got a D+, hence it graduates college. That's all I got.
That's how I graduated, baby. 3 degrees. Now, Daniel Erickson of Next Generation on the N64 version says, it's one of the few games to inspire active anger and hate. Just having to handle the cart with our bare fingers makes us feel dirty. And also, he says, a blatant insult to the intelligence of wrestling fans and Dreamcast owners in regards to the Dreamcast version. Now, the critics mostly praised Joey Styles' commentary, which I thought was pretty damn good, too. It was his typical shtick, like, Inzaghetti. And the use of weapons during the game. However, many reviews criticized Revolution for being a near copy of its predecessor, Attitude and Warzone, and not reflecting ECW's unique style, just covering over everything with ECW wrestlers and themes. And I have to agree with that, plus the added blood, barbed wire. You know who's missing from this game? The Sandman.
So that's a weird thing where Sandman was in WCW for like most of '99, but I'm pretty sure he came back at the same time or maybe like a month after Raven came back.
Yeah, so he didn't make it into the game.
That's kind of weird.
He is in the opening FMV, though, but he's not actually in the game. He does make his debut.
He's in Anarchy Rules. That's fine.
Yeah, he makes his debut in Anarchy Rules along with Dusty Rhodes.
Yes.
All right. Well, this is normally the part where we talk about Clash at the Feast, but I got to be honest with you. I'm still pretty exhausted from that match, so
I think it's still going on.
yeah, somewhere in an alternate universe, in the darkest possible timeline imaginable, that Clash at the Feast is still going on. So, for this, you know what, John, just right now, you could just start playing the music, because we're going to start talking about Clash at the Feast.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Cult Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles. From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country. Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Cult Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CultLookingBB. New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts like this one are available. The Cult Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
Alright, so like I said in the beginning, revenge is just too sweet. We made Nick Stapp pick the match stipulations and who we would be. George was lucky enough to get New Jack. I was lucky enough to get Francine, and we did a last person standing match. And
Last person.
I'm just going to say, George must have eaten 37 spears, gotten hit with 17.
I'd say like 73 spears, roughly.
Got maybe
Like 50 television sets.
62 TVs over his head, and he just kept getting up at 7. I didn't know what to do. I hit him with 20 stunners, and finally, I took him down. The ref counted to 10. And your winner this week is the comeback kid. Johnny Clash, play my damn music.
It's a fluke, John.
Ooh.
It's a fluke.
Oh, I haven't heard
Coming
that
for
beautiful
you
song in
next
a
week.
while.
Just for reference for the baseball fans out there, just like open up baseball reference and look at Barry Bonds' year by year home run numbers, and that will be the amount of spears and TV shots and running clotheslines and stunners that Francine hit on New Jack in this match.
Also,
roughly.
the amount of wins that I had last year in Clash at the Feast.
Last year doesn't count anymore. We're getting a little out of hand here.
Resetting. Just
I
like
get to hold
AEW
that
resets,
belt.
we're going to reset these win-loss
I
records.
get to hold that belt all year long.
That's okay. I've been keeping it warm for you. But, guys, what do you say we throw to an interview with our good friend, Danny Doring, the last ever
best-
ECW Tag Team Champion? All right, ladies and gentlemen, like we said, we are here with former ECW Original and ECW Tag Team Champion, Danny Doring. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
We're just talking about the game. I'll preface it by saying there was an Outlaw show out east a couple months ago, maybe even a couple years ago. I don't know at this point. where me and Nick were actually talking about the game, and we ended up in conversation with you about it. So when the opportunity came up that we were playing the game, I figured you were the best guy to go to get some insight, get some stories, and see what it was all about.
I want to preface everything I say, but like Nick's become one of my favorite people in the business over the last couple of years. He always comes up to me for Doring story time, so it's always one of my favorite things to do now. So the game was it was awesome because we got to work on it. It was my first mocapping experience. So I mean, and I've also got to do a lot of the Raw SmackDowns. So I got to kind of see where mocapping was and where where it went to. So a lot of big differences back then in the mocapping fields. I might have a picture somewhere actually. I'll send it out. Maybe I'll tweet it out later. But I definitely have a picture of the mocapping suit from the Hardcore Revolution and Anarchy games.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, 'cause that was something I was reading. They were saying how I think Matt and Jeff Hardy did all of the mocap for Attitude. And when this game came around, they didn't really change much as far as like the mocap, but I figured there had to be some stuff in there because we were playing earlier and some of the moves were different, the finishers and all of that. So
yeah, a lot of stuff Matt and Jeff, they said they left in there on purpose because it was just slams and suplexes and stuff. I mean, Spike still did a lot of that stuff and all the personalized moves and some of the entrances. However, in the first game, Chris Chetty did my entrance, and you can totally see. I mean, it's some convoluted version of the shuffle and some weird kind of. It's horrific, but that's definitely not me doing that. That's Chris Chetty ribbing me in the game, and a lot of the game is a rib on all. We ribbed each other like through the whole game, especially the mocapping guys, especially in the voiceovers and stuff like that. So a lot of subtle ribs in there that you can pick up on.
That's awesome.
My favorite is Tommy Rich's soundbite where he asks for his draw.
Oh yeah.
yes. I don't know. Yours are pretty good too. It's the Danaconda, and the Dash 3 one has something he needs to say.
Yeah, those are my standard pitch lines. But Roadkill throws a clown in there, which was his famous thing, and there were some other ones. Sal had a couple of them in there, and there was a couple of good ones.
Did you record, like, how many of those did you actually record? Because not too long ago, there was actually, it came out where they put out, like, Vince McMahon's outtakes, I think, from Warzone, and they were pretty hilarious.
Yeah, no, we went into a booth, and they said, hit, like, three lines, and then, like, a couple of selling, like, sound bites, like, whatever, and then, obviously, I have a kind of a famous selling soundbite in there where I do a kind of thing. So I threw that in there. So there's a lot of the guys did that. So we were all in this booth for like a recording booth, like 5 minutes each, just doing stuff. And some of us had to do it for some of the other guys too because they didn't make it or they didn't talk or whatever. So
Did Sabu do his own yell?
I don't remember if Sabu did it or not. I'm trying to remember. Some of the guys, I think, kind of just blew it off. You know what I mean? Which is weird because it's like you're in a video game. And it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And remember, when it was coming out, me and Sal went to. I want to say at the time it was whatever GameStop was. It was Babbage's maybe, or what were the names of the back then?
Funkoland?
Electronics Boutique.
Well, we went to all of them, and we started asking questions about the game to the people who were there. And we had the character book. So we had the book out with everybody in it. And we're like, what about this guy? Oh, dude, that guy sucks. Of course, we're showing them our characters. And you know what? Which is weird because Sal, like, is obviously, like, noticeable when you walk into a place. But we'd open up to a page of ourselves and a character. Like, what would you do with this guy? Like, I wouldn't even use that guy. That guy. Look at that outfit. So we went around to all the local like malls and stuff just to kind of have fun with it, and so that was a good time too. But we got to do both of the games and the mocapping, and the most frustrating thing was they didn't have a wrestling ring; they had a boxing ring.
Oh shit!
It was the balls were Velcroed on, whereas we did the Raw SmackDowns out in LA, they didn't come off. But every time we did something, and we had some pretty big moves in there. that we had to do. Anytime a ball rolled off of the suit, we had to reshoot the move.
Oh my God.
We had a couple 15-hour days there just bumping straight. It was, and it was like, I remember one time I couldn't move anymore. I hit something and I couldn't move my back, and Dreamer was right there going, "You got to ask for weird stuff." Like Dreamer was trying to get us to ask him, because whatever we asked for, they would get us. So they actually they paid somebody to bump a massage appointment so I can get a massage in to get my, go back there. And he's like, start asking for like green M&Ms and a football helmet. Like just, I would push him. He was there supervising the whole thing. He kept doing it though, because he goes, I ask for something weird every day. Like I was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna.
You got to put together your mocap rider.
I was going. I need a face mask. I need a helmet without a face mask and a jar full of M&Ms, right? All facing up.
Nick's somehow going to turn that into a match.
Yeah, I think so.
Going diet.
That's all right. Going Bud Light seltzer up in here, doing all white trash.
Yeah, I think we all got something.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, trust me, I'm gonna break. I break out the bourbon a little later on just to get me to sleep.
Oh yeah, what do you like? What's your favorite?
I'm a weeder. I'm a weeder, so I'm into the weeded stuff right now. I got a cast strength makers that I'm.
That's good.
Yeah,
I just got a bottle of Larceny too, but I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's like my backup. But you guys got some ideas, man? Throw them my way.
Oh yeah, I can put a list of whiskeys and bourbons together for you. I'll shoot them over to you on Twitter.
Please do.
So what was like the reception of the game, like the locker room? Because I know there were a few guys, they said that when the game was released, they were no longer with the company, like Mike Awesome, Sabu, The Sheik, Taz. Was this game, was there excitement? Because you said most of the guys didn't want to, like they just kind of brushed it off.
Well, you know what I think? I think like the locker room was such that you had guys that were, I don't say they brushed it off as much as it was just like, it was a bigger deal to some of us that was like, some of the younger guys. It was a much, much bigger deal. Or they just played it off. Like, to me, like, it was like, like, look at me, I'm in a video game. Like, how did this happen? Like, who's this guy? Like,
yeah.
So a lot of us, it was a really cool deal. So we had it set up before the shows. We would play it and stuff. And then, the reception backstage was, everybody was pretty excited about it. Besides the obvious, like, I think some of the guys were expecting a payday out of it. And we technically never got anything for being in the game, which is a different thing nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, but like, it was just, I got paid to do the mocapping, and we got a nice check. Me and Spike got a nice payday for that. So I wasn't upset. I was more happy to be in the game than, but I think some of the guys their gripe was they didn't get that payday out of it. But based on that, we got to promote the game. So we would come in, like, they would fly me and Roadkill to like Virginia on a Tuesday to do a Funcoland or whatever, like a meet and greet, and then fly us out from there to like DC or something on a puddle jumper and do another one. So we do like 2 or 3 things a day. We were getting like ushered around in limos. Like we were loving it. We were like a little not over version of the Beatles. So, and then we got to do the LA thing. We got to go to E3, all expenses paid, which was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even know what E3 was when I got there, and I'm kind of like I grew up, I was kind of like a nerdy kid, you know what I mean? So like to get out there, it was like, wow. And then of course, because I had to be me, I had to take it upon myself to take a stab at almost every pseudo or shoot legit celebrity that was there, like in some way, shape, or form. Like it was just, and Dream was like, stop messing with everybody. People there, it was, I remember directly we had a match, and in the middle of the match, I just told Simon Diamond to bum and sell, or Chris Chetty, and because Ricky Rackman was in the next thing over for an X Games debut, and he was just putting himself over. And I couldn't help but notice while I'm working the match that Ricky Rackman, that guy grew up watching me on Headbangers Ball. Like every time somebody would do like a, I just grabbed the mic. I was like, "Would you shut up?" Like I healed it. I healed the bits out of him. Dream was it was just E3 was like the culmination of that though. So like that was like a really really cool thing.
That's awesome.
Out in Los Angeles.
So, were you a gamer before you were in a game?
What's up?
Were you like into games, and were you a gamer like before you were in the game?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm 46, so I don't know. Like I was Atari. You know what I mean? Like when Atari came out, Atari, ColecoVision, Mike Tyson's Punch Out was huge when I was in the 8th grade. Of course, that was like my mom had bought the system for me for Christmas. The game came in, but the system didn't come in time.
Oh.
So I had this game. I'm just looking at Mike Tyson, and when we came back from Christmas break, everyone's, I'm up to King Hippo. I'm up to this guy. I'm up to that guy. And I was like, yeah, me too, of course. But yeah, man, I've for like I still do. Like when after this, I'll probably get off and play a couple games of Madden or something like that. Battlefront or whatever.
So now you're talking about Madden. You're speaking Clash's language.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know. kind of been out of it lately since the new UFC games came out. But
this year wasn't a great version, but I heard they cleaned it up for this one coming up next week. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about them, but it's football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just went through a bin. I found I have for original Nintendo. I have like Madden 94.
Wow.
I was just like, I didn't even know I had this. So it was one of those classic ones. I actually think that ended up being one of the games that they put on the Madden CD a couple of years back, where it was just like you can go back and play the classic Nintendo. It was 94 or 95 or whatever. I was like, that's awesome. More games should do that, where like you buy the next generation of whatever wrestling game and you get pro wrestling from original Nintendo.
Where my friend, we got the Nintendo Classics where they came out a couple of years ago. They redid them. My friend had the way to soup them up. Put like the 700 games on there. So
oh yeah, that's awesome.
We've been playing. Me and a couple of guys from the neighborhood. We went back. We're playing some old school Tecmo Bowl. We're trying to go through all the teams.
That was
on
good
that.
That's great.
The Tecmo was a classic, man.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
So my next order of business is eventually to have all my classic arcade games in my man cave. So we're talking Punch Out, WrestleFest, Wrestling Superstars, Dragon's Lair. I'm all over the place with it. Yeah, but as far as gaming, man, yeah, I go way back.
I'll say you have your choice now with some of those games. You can do they have like the bar top ones, or you can get the full size cabinets.
I kind of want to go full size just for ego.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have a man cave that's like a mini arcade, you gotta go full size.
My only fear is because now I have kids is they'll break something and I'll lose it like a button. Or now I'm trying to hit Glass Joe with the right hook and it's not working and I'm like,
become the first person to ever lose to Glass Joe.
What happened? Who did?
So you'll become the first person to ever lose to Glass Joe.
Nah, somebody had to lose to him, right?
Someone didn't have their controller plugged in as a kid, and they were the first person.
Nah, there's got to be like a legit guy who went down, like legit.
trying his hardest.
What was his record in that game? He had one win, right? Like one win ever, or it was like one draw.
Yeah,
what was the
1 in 99 or something like that?
Yeah, he was
somebody. Maybe it was Piston Honda or Hurricane. You notice like they all the names in the legit game. So like Mike Tyson came out, it was like Vodka Drunkenski, but he became Drunkenski.
Oh yeah.
Dragon Chan with the illegal kick off the ropes and Punch Out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the one picture circulating of like all the ECW guys with Mary Kate and Ashley. Is that from E3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They had a game. I guess they had a game come out, but
yes, way too many games. Like way too many.
My little sister played those.
The everybody's publicists were coming over, and we were getting like photo ops with like different celebrities, and like Regis Philbin. Some of them I remember was Regis. Ice-T was probably my favorite one because he was just sitting there literally eating chicken, and he had a big old soda. I don't know if and he like they had all sorts of catered food out there, but it's like he didn't give So he's sitting there, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" I'm like, "Dude, Ice, big fan." He's like, "Oh, thanks, homie." I'm like, "Yeah, man." I go, "When you pull that baseball bat out of your afro and Leprechaun in the hood. Rude. And he just looked at me. He's like, "You're fucking kidding me, right?" And Dream was, "You please stop." But I think Sarah Michelle Gellar, George Foreman, and then they brought the Olsen twins over, and of course everybody from ECW popped. We all like popped uncontrollably, and there was a couple of maybe pseudo inappropriate comments made by some of the other guys, not me. Total Joe. Yeah, some of the other guys maybe, but yeah, it was and it was funny because they were kind of friendly, but one of them seemed like kind of like scared, like just nervous to be around us. I don't remember which one was which, but I don't know what they even look like today. Like they're probably like they were worth like billions in or something, like 300 something ridiculous amount of money because their publicists were telling us how over they were.
Oh, jeez.
Of course they would.
I was just saying, if you're suddenly getting surrounded by a bunch of wrestlers, I would imagine that.
You know how big of a deal this is, right? I'm like, yeah, of course.
So
that might be the highlight of any guest that we've had on the podcast. Just knowing that a bunch of ECW guys pop for the Olsen twins. Maybe I don't think we're ever going to cover it. I think we've peaked.
More than anybody else there, we pop for the Olsens the most.
Yeah, that
awesome.
is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Little sidebar to that story: we went out that night and we were in a club, and Zeus was there with like an entourage. And I think Dreamer made me a side bet of $100. He goes, "Dude, no way you go up behind him and give him the next snap." I was like, "Deal." And I was, so I went over and did it. And he was like totally cool. He totally picked up what we were doing with it because I was expecting to get hit. Like I was expecting to get popped. Like, I'm going to go do this, and this guy's going to knock my head off. But it's okay because it's going to be a great story when my jaw heals.
Yeah,
but completely cool with it. It was awesome.
That's great.
As a matter of fact, now when we ever wrestle in front of crowds again, that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing back the next snap.
Hell yeah.
Nick will sign up to be the first one to take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it from him. I'm going to sell the shit out of it.
So what WWE games did you work with?
Raw, SmackDown, like I want to say like 3 or 4 of them in a row. We were there every year for like 3 or 4 years. Like me, MVP, Kevin Thorne. I go with Damian Sandow, Mickey James, Angelina Love. We had a pretty decent crew out there. Like so it was, and they hooked that up, man. Those guys, that was a really awesome time. It was like 50, and they gave us $50 a day for food, but they had an on-site caterer. So it's like we would just load up on the food and just spend the $50 at the bar or whatever. So that was some of the, those are great paydays. And I almost actually took a part-time job with the company, just doing mocapping for like different stuff, football and stuff. But I guess they went with some local people, so they didn't have to fly us in. But I was loving it so much, man. It was almost my new career. Like I was seriously like, all right, wrestling was cool and all, but let's do this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes right there with wrestling. It's kind of like the guys who transition to like movies and stunts and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this picture. I might have it. I don't know if I can zoom it in, but if you guys can make that's kind of hard to see, I know. Maybe if I turn it this way. I don't know. Me and
okay. Yeah.
me and Dawn. Not a lot going on in those suits. Like if you got something you're ashamed of, you either got to go to the bathroom and stuff some toilet paper down there, or you got to figure out a way. But everything else.
Any funny mocap stories or anything?
I mean, besides the obvious farting and stuff like that. I remember there was one where we did. Me and one other guy did the opening for one of the Raw SmackDowns. I think if you turn the game on, it's like Cena and Kurt Angle, and they're having like a brawl. Like, that's like the opening sequence where they're going through the whole arena, and the end of it is Cena gets Olympic slammed on a table, through a table, and then Angle moonsaults off the rafters or something like that. So we had to film that with the thing. But I went through the table. There's a bunch of Japanese people there, like probably like 50 people there. And all I hear is Dreamer come over and he squeezes my arm. He goes, "Okay, freight." Like he wanted me to sell the table, like they really put it over. And they all, because you couldn't get a pop out of these guys for anything unless you stiff. Even if I stiffed, like if I took Nick and I gave him one, if he didn't register it and sell it, they didn't pop. Like you had to if you sold something, then they finally bought it. So I went to the table, I laid there and I started moaning, like I started doing orgasmic moaning. Oh, and they all come running over. And they go, one more for safety. One more. And I would just go back down. I would get back up. One more. And they were like, no. And so we did I wound up doing 2 or 3 tables. And it was the easiest bump ever. They had a crash pad under and everything. But we just sold the table like it was the legit worst thing that you could put your body through in any circumstance. And they popped for it. So, and then they go, it's like little things like that. But, when you're in there, like the usual little ribs, like, farting or tickling somebody or, or if you gave somebody a bump that they knew they didn't like and you flicked the ball off them while you're on the ground, they had to do little ribs for the ECW game with me and Spike. And I think Chris and Nova were here a couple of days. But that's about it. I'm all nervous now because normally I just flow with the stories when I'm around Nick, but it's I feel like it was my first Zoom kind of wrestling thing I've done, so I feel like
okay.
You guys are actually intimidating me a little bit.
No,
not us. We're nobodies.
Any stories that you got that you want to share about this? This is an open platform for you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just trying to remember. You're going back now, what was that game? 98, 99?
Yeah, you're probably putting everything together in 99. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're putting stuff together 98, 99. Game came out in 2000.
Yeah,
2000. So yeah.
I mean, we spent so much, like I said, the young guys, we spent so much time promoting the game. We were the workhorses with that, promoting the game, going to doing the meet and greets. And it was cool because we had our, the poster up in the front. And we had sometimes we had a line out the door, which felt really good. But sometimes we had literally no one. Hey guys, and then then you got the one person comes in and goes, "Is Van Dam coming?"
So I guess for familiarity purposes, was Paul Heyman, did he have any hand in anything that was going on with the game, or was he just legal, legal in and out?
I really don't know. I guess besides the fact that he had to, make the deal with Acclaim and do his voiceovers, but I don't he wasn't there for the mocapping or any of that production. So I mean, he was, I guess, he had his company to run, but Dreamer was there. He was always the overseer. But a lot of times, I don't know if he was there to oversee or just because he had nothing to do and he wanted to rib us. Fun. But yeah, no, Paul was I guess besides signing off on it and doing his voiceover dubs, he wasn't around for much. So I don't really know how much or little or how much he had to do with it at all, to be honest.
So to circle back to something you and I have bonded on before, did Balls Mahoney do his own voiceovers?
He did. He did. And Balls. I think Balls has a couple ribbed ones in there too. I think he threw a couple in there.
Yeah.
So I remember. Now I got to go back. You got to go back and play each character. Bill Wiles had a couple good ones in there too, where he literally references the ring crew and some of the perils thereof. Some obscure people but you got a couple of characters in there too that are that are playable characters that you don't even realize. Gabe Sapolsky is a playable character.
That's right.
Rob Feinstein's a playable character.
Thanks.
Doug
Harry Slash.
Harry Slash. Yeah. And all the production people that were in the booth, they all put themselves in the game, of course. Dreamer's best friend, Martian Boy, is in the game, who has absolutely zero to do with wrestling whatsoever.
I remember.
So it's but a lot of the guys when they went in the booth, because it's just we didn't take it super we took it seriously. We did our serious stuff, but we threw some couple of rib things in there too, just to be, just to make ourselves laugh, because we felt like it was for us. We didn't really, we never really never really took ourselves like, you know, like that. You know what I mean? Like we were like heads. You know, we never really had that superstar kind of. I don't think. At least I don't think I did. I'm sure somebody fucking hates me out there, but I think I'm a.
Yeah.
I say, well,
Thanks.
I say, we think you're okay.
Just okay. I'll take it.
In the 20 minutes that I've been on this call with you, you get the George Freese seal of approval. I promise.
Well, I was going to say, for a little context, Danny and I were on a show about a year ago, and he was literally like, he had a foot out the door, and I said, "Hey, what happened with Chetty that time where he did the lion salt and he like stopped moving?" And my man threw his bag down and sat down and told me like he gave me like the play-by-play for the whole show and then everything after it. So yeah, we're a fan of Danny around the house, definitely.
It's funny because like a lot of people always ask that particular match, like, what was that all about? I was like, we weren't even supposed to be in that match. We were, just, you know, and it was just like, so I always like explaining like people pick up on little quirky things that have happened in ECW, and when somebody does, like I'm all about it. If I know the story, I'm like, I'm gonna sit there. Where else am I gonna go? I'm married with 3 kids. My in-laws live in the house. You think I want to go home? I'll sit and talk. I'll talk to Nick about old ECW stuff all day, or whatever, like whatever kind of weird kind of stuff I've encountered over this crazy business over the last 25 years now, or whatever it was. Oh my God, 2000. Jesus, I don't even know anymore. 96. I'm trying to do the math. I think it's 25. I think it's 25 now.
Yeah, round off.
So I was going to ask. You mentioned a lot of different talent that you were able to do mocap with. So I was going to say, out of everyone that you've done mocap with, who was your favorite to do with? Just based on, I mean, you could base it off of anything. Just I'm sure all your ECW crew was probably the funnest to work with, just because stories and mess around. But just in terms of ease of working with and all that, like who was your favorites?
Well, I mean, I love doing it with Spike. Like me and Spike, we did the first ones that I was always, you know, that was awesome because, you know, me and Spike were friends. We traveled together. We were in ring crew together. So, you know, we got along. Like we like, there was no weirdness. We shared, you know, we were in the same room together, even though they wanted to give us separate rooms. We were like, we don't need, you know, we didn't need it. But in the WWE ones, like I think me and MVP worked on one of the whole. I think we did like every single move on Raw and SmackDown because we were similar body types. But after that, just bonding with some of the people hanging out and going out, like me and Kevin Thorne, Kevin Ferdig, we became really tight through that experience. So when we got to WWE and we started working house shows together, it was like there was a familiarity there, even though I really thought, and I remember asking him if I owed him money because I thought I was in a real fight every time I wrestled him. And that's not even a joke. He beat the shit out of me. But you know, you like everybody there was awesome. Like you had a little bonding experience with some of those guys. It wasn't really anybody that I had a negative experience with there. In fact, like Dreamer went out of his way to bring guys in that he knew would get along. That's kind of one of Tommy's things. Tommy's like the last real baby face, I think, in wrestling. Like the guy literally you can't find anybody has anything bad to say about him, and that's rare in this business. But you know, everybody that did those mocappings from ECW to WWE Raw SmackDown were awesome people.
Let's say we're definitely going to have to try to, if you're willing to, we would love to have you back on when we get to the Raw and SmackDown games.
Absolutely, I'd love
Nick,
to.
I would guess you could come too if you want to come and hang out too.
Oh, of course.
Nick's just like our resident drifter. Like when we need a guy, we're like, Nick will be great.
He's the official but unofficial random third of the podcast.
In my trophy case, actually, in my living room, I have both manuals for both ECW games. So if we ever have a chance where we can all maybe sit down and play, I got you guys beat because I got every move. So I'm good. I'm wham bamming everybody.
I think that was the worst part in these games is the moves because you had to like press start every time and go
like playing Street Fighter.
Figure out what they were.
Left, up, down, A, B at the same time. It hits like
kind of guaranteed something.
Yeah, it was the I think it was like they kept that Attitude or Raw, whatever that WWF game was at the time.
Yeah. Attitude and Warzone.
Yeah, they took that engine. That was what we used, and then they moved on to those WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, those which were awesome games, by the way. Those are like some of my favorite wrestling ever.
But see, the real, and we were saying this when we were just messing around with it earlier, is the one of our favorite things about this game is that the face scans really look like the faces in this game are better than the face scans in WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. Like, your face looks like you know, Jerry Lynn looks like Jerry Lynn. Like, the face scans, the texture of it is actually like a face scan. So the quality is great.
That, and you literally can gig a guy's like ankle.
Yeah.
Like really, like literally no place you can't bleed from in the game. Your back, like your elbow, your heel. Like, you find a place and you can make a guy bleed from it. So that's you know.
There's pros and cons and different aspects to every engine, and this one has just like some features that were never, you know, continued on in other, like, no one's bleeding from an ankle, no one's bleeding from their back in the newer style games. It's just like a very unique weird like feature that was in this game, but it was one of those things that you didn't know that you needed it until all of a sudden it wasn't there.
Until you're bleeding from the side of the head.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jerry Lynn got really good color on you through a Japanese arm drag.
Yes.
When John and George were playing before. Real good color.
What happened was that was an old digital injury from way back, and the skin never really is still very, very thick. So if you hit that spot directly with anything, it'll bleed right away. It's like a Mahoney.
It's the easiest hard way.
Yeah, it's just all you got to do is give it a little nudge. And it'll, I take a couple of digital aspirin and a little bit of digital alcohol right before they get the digital blood. So it flows nice crimson mask, and you're good.
That's awesome. So, you know, earlier we were talking about some of the other consoles that you played when you were growing up. You know, we were talking about how now you still play. What's your number one? What's your favorite console of all time?
I'm a PlayStation guy. I've always been. I got the PS4 now. I'll get the PS5 as soon as it comes out. I never really. I had people in my family. My brother owned an Xbox. I didn't really like it. I don't know. I can't even explain. I don't have a really reason why. I'm just a PlayStation dude. That's clear cut.
Hey, that's, you know, it's what you had.
I agree.
It's what you played, you know, during your gaming, your formative gaming years. If that's the one that sticks out, everyone's got that system. John's a trader. John was an Xbox and crossed over to PlayStation.
Hey, I went PlayStation, Xbox, PlayStation. Come on.
But did you have a Dreamcast?
No, I didn't have the Dreamcast.
I did, and then it was towards the end of the lifespan of it. But I had it I picked up all the good games, and then eventually that went into a bin.
I think my actual ECW games that I got from my trophy case also are the Dreamcast format. But I still
the Dreamcast controller was something else.
Yeah, it was like, didn't it have something plugged into it or something? It was like
it had like a visual memory card that you can plug into the center, and like certain games almost brought up like little characters and stuff on the screen. Like if you were playing like a shooter, you could see your ammo and stuff. Like it was really ahead of its time, but it was like holding a loaf of bread. It was a very big controller.
It really was. Not as bad as the old Atari. I had a Vectrex actually too when I was. I think that's what it was called.
The Atari controller is a whole other beast.
One stick and one button, baby. Unless you were playing Warlords and you had the little turny. How far I go back.
So, all right. So we talked about favorite console, but what's your? You know, we'll say top 5. You can do less or more depending on. But you know, if you had to say favorite games of all time.
Okay. I'm going to go classic Nintendo, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! I think that's a pro wrestling, Starman and Fighter Hayabusa. You got to go throw them in there.
Best.
Madden's been my go-to for as long as I've been playing. And I like the Battlefront games. I'm a Star Wars geek, so I love the Battlefront games.
You're in light company.
I just wish it was more verbal. Like I'm also a shit talker, so it's like kind of my thing. You can't just go and you know, if you don't have an outlet like a microphone or a wrestling promo, you can't really do it. And you can't even do it anywhere in wrestling today because you really can't be a heel. Yeah. So online, you could be anybody you want.
It's true.
Can literally be anybody you want. And you could play like, you can play as the most backwards redneck that you can think of and just throw the ball. That's right out there. You can just throw it out there. You can play as the most I can almost play. I can be anybody I want. Nobody knows who we're playing. Especially when my gamer handle is very vague. It's Sugar Mask 12, so nobody knows if it's a boy, it's a girl, if I'm whatever. If I'm a Martian.
I think you need to get like a Twitch or a YouTube channel where you just play and mess with kids. I think that would be.
I have Twitch. I just have no followers. I don't
plug
really
it. Plug it here.
Plug it right now. This is it. Plug it.
Sugar Mask 12 on Twitch.
That's it. I'm gonna log in right now and follow it.
I'll be on there. It's pretty obvious. Like I think I got some pictures up there, but it's here he is.
Kind of looks like my beer.
That's actually very random too, because I just wore this because I threw it out of the closet, but then I'm sitting there promoting my Sugar Mask, which so that works out. But yeah, no, I go on like that's what I wish. The only thing I wish about Battlefront had was was more you can interact with other players, but Madden's great at that. I love the Battlefront the graphics. I just like I said, I was like I'll lose. Like I actually haven't been able to play because I haven't been able to update it because my son took up all of the data on the memory with his WWE 2K game, which drives me absolutely insane because I feel like it's unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
had
talked
our
about
run-ins
that
already.
He will play people online, and I'll just come in and start doing wrestling voices. Like I'll do Taz, I'll do Undertaker, I'll talk as Roadkill, I'll talk as I just start doing like I'll do Hulk Hogan. Like every time he plays, I'm somebody else. I did Balls Mahoney the whole game once. He was driving this guy crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you. Like it was just and people get irritated. Like the wrestling fans are really easily irritable on this game. Almost so than Madden. It's almost hysterical, especially if you're doing wrestling impressions. So if you have like 3 or 4 good ones and you just play with that character and talk in that character, it can be way more entertaining. You can make the game more entertaining than it actually is just by doing that.
That's awesome. All right, we don't want to hold you up all night. We know the Makers is calling.
Actually, it's boring. A football Zoom meeting is calling right after this. I'm actually missing it for this.
Oh God!
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Where can we find you? What's your social media? Let everybody know.
Oh, I just do the Twitter, man. Sugar Mask 12, Sugar Mask at Sugar Mask on Twitter, Sugar Mask 12 on Twitch. I don't really Instagram. I got the Facebook, but it's such a negative cesspool of negativity. I just can't even deal with it most of the time. Twitter is too, but at least you can kind of put up what you want, and my stuff's always positive. And I try to answer. I'm pretty good at answering everybody there, and not too much hate out there, so it's all good. But like I don't obviously I don't throw it out there like please remember me, I'm Danny Doring kind of thing. So. But I think that's it. Sugar Mask at Sugar Mask, and if anybody wants, throw it out there. And like I said, I'll put that picture up there if you guys want, and then
that'd be great.
That'd be cool
on a Twitter machine. And then this was fun, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Have you been able to locate Tom Marquez, the Prodigy?
I've had some leads. I have. I actually have Mike Johnson from PW Insider working on it. That's not even a joke. He actually is working on it. A couple other guys think they've seen him. He may or not be wearing the ECW TV championship. That's another story. Nobody knows where it is. Rumor is the ring crew didn't get paid. The belt disappeared from the building the same night. The coincidences are just up. But Tom Marquez is, and I if I don't do anything else in this business ever, I'm going to make his folklore something of legend for those who see who he is. And that's my goal. I could literally fill up a whole show. You think I have like Balls Mahoney stories? I have, in his short period of being in the business, I have just as many Tom Marquez stories as I have Balls Mahoney stories, and they're all absolutely fabulous. You know what I mean? He's a classic character, man. I'm going to keep him alive until the day I'm in the dirt. I don't want to leave on that negative. That seems kind of negative.
All right, so we'll do this. I don't want to keep you anymore, but just one more quick, small question, just because we talked about it earlier, and now I'm very curious. What's your top 3 whiskeys, bourbons? Like, what's on your list?
Okay, well, and I've tried it, so don't. I've tried the Pappy. I have had the Pappy, so you have to go Pappy number 1. You just have to. If you experience the Pappy, then there's. And then I'm like I said, the Maker's cask strength Makers is up there, and then I guess the Larceny's a third. But like I said, I haven't really ventured too much away from the Maker's cask strength once I tried it. Even regular Makers is not, but the cask is a lot different. What do you got for me? Weeder's guy.
So I mean, first thing that jumps out to me, if you've never had the Jack Daniel's Sinatra, it's like. It's not Pappy level. It's way down in terms of, it's a little bit more of the. I think it's maybe like $150, but it's like maple syrup. Like it's like insanely good. And then there's another one called Virgil Cane. It's like it's ginger infused bourbon. That's also a really good one. Clash, you like bourbon whiskey?
Yeah, but I If I see it, I buy it. That's really, I don't have like a go-to. Usually just like a Maker's or like a Woodford or something.
Yeah, the higher end Jamesons are also pretty good too. Like the Castmates series that they started doing, those are pretty good too. Yeah, this is not where I expected to talk about on this interview. This was an awesome surprise.
I just got into it recently, like I guess a couple of years now. But like I was always a vodka guy. I never really. I don't know, man. Something happened with me when I turned 40. Like, if I had like 3 beers, like the whole day the next day is shot. I just can't cope. I don't know what happened, but I can do a top shelf vodka. I can put the whole bottle down and cartwheel a straight line the next day. I don't know what weird thing. And then I just kind of started getting into the bourbons and developing the palate, and I really started to get into it. Like, you know what I mean? So now I'll just sit on my days off and I'll get I'll pour a neat one. I'm more of a neat guy. I don't really like the ice. You know what I mean? Every now and again, I'll drop water in it, but for the most part, and that's kind of like I'll just have a few, and sip away for a while, and it kind of mellows me out. So like it's been kind of like my new thing. I'm getting more sophisticated with age, which I guess is a very non-ECW thing to say. But I think that,
I mean, if you drink from the whiskey glass and then you smash it in someone's face, that's
never kind of my thing. Never even gigged once. All my color's been hard way. Which is
I was gonna say you've definitely bled before.
Definitely another amazing non-ECW thing to say is I can tell you how to make a blade, and I've done some gimmicks where I was put on shows specifically because of that, and they wanted me to blade, so I'd make a fake one with tape, and then when the guy would go to hit me, I would lean into it harder and throw the tape into the crowd and go, "You stiffed me so hard, I lost my blade. I couldn't get it in." That was kind of my thing. So I don't. Yeah. So I've as much as the 6 years I was there was I was the I guess we were more of a comic relief kind of thing, but I didn't really get into any of that. We did some hardcore stuff, but blading and hardcore gimmicks and all that other stuff, extracurricular stuff wasn't my bag. But weeded bourbon is.
All right,
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, that's a better note to leave on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a.
Right? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. I appreciate it. We'll definitely be in touch. We want to have you back on for all the other games that you mocapped.
I'm already on it. I can't wait.
Love it.
Thank you,
awesome,
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Hope to see you soon.
All right.
Let me tell you something. When I found out that we were doing an interview with Danny Doring, if you could have asked me what I thought the last thing that we would have talked about was, number one on that list probably would have been brands of whiskey. I have a newfound appreciation for Danny Doring. Dude. He is welcome to come back on this podcast whenever whenever he wants.
He's just like the coolest guy. I mean, like you think he's an ECW original, like he must be rough and tough, which I'm sure he is, but he's just like the nicest guy ever. Like he gives you the time of day, and that's all you could ask for.
He's the best. He's the absolute best. And apparently, there's a wonderful thing that's going on that was brought up several times during the interview, where Nick just has story time with Danny Doring, which I think is probably genuinely the nicest thing.
Wait, you know what was the best part? Nick telling the story about how Doring had his foot out the door, and then he stopped him to tell a story, because you literally did that on this podcast. We sent him off, and you're like, wait.
That is several layers of storytelling, and I was just waiting for it. I was like, all right, we're about to end. Let me tell the story about the time we were about to end in real life. and I held him at the Union, New Jersey Columbian Club for an hour.
Oh God!
To tell me about Anarchy Rules 1999.
Awesome, unbelievable.
All right. Enough of that. I think it's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, so ECW Hardcore Revolution. I'm going to throw it to our guest, Nick Stapp, first to let us know what he thinks. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
So as you guys know, I'm a big nostalgia guy. And if not for nostalgia, this would be getting future endeavored. But I'm going to play it forever. Just because I enjoy things that make me feel like I'm 13 years old again. So I'm gonna play this forever. Just again, mainly because I'll have no choice. Because if I play a match, it's gonna go on forever. But also because I don't know, it has a nostalgic charm to it. So play forever.
All right, and Georgie boy, will you play it forever or future endeavor?
Oh, this is tough. I'm not sure what to do here. So on one hand, I want to just say I'm going to future endeavor it because just Clash at the Feast, it was too much. No. But I mean, I'm trying. This was an awesome experience. This whole episode was great from start to finish. I love when Nick's here. Having Danny Doring on the show was awesome. So I'm trying to not let my experience today cloud my judgment for the game itself. And now I am thinking back to how awful Clash at the Feast was. And for that reason, and for how the same reason that I future endeavored Warzone, I will be future endeavoring ECW Hardcore Revolution.
You're fired!
And Mr. Johnny Clash, it is now your turn in the hot seat. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
I played it a lot growing up, and it's something I've revisited here and there just for, like Nick said, like nostalgia. I don't know. I was excited to play it because I was familiar with it, I think, and I did enjoy like the barbed wire. It is Attitude, but Warzone was also Attitude was also Warzone, so it at least progressed a little bit with like the match types. And yeah, I had fun with it. I'm gonna play it forever.
Woo! Wow! All right. So this is usually the part where Johnny asked me to queue up what we're playing next week as we look in the notes and he sees what game we're playing. But I have been keeping the game that we've been playing for him. So this is just going to be a new thing where I'm not going to tell Johnny what we're playing until the week of. So
this is how he's going to try to beat me in Clash at the Feast. No preparation.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No tape study.
You have an entire week to prepare the same as I do.
All right, spit it out.
So next week on the podcast, we are going to be playing pro wrestling, but we are going to be playing the Sega Master System version of pro wrestling.
What?
So pro wrestling.
So like the Nintendo
Mega-
version, but the Sega version.
It's the same name, different game. Technically,
Different characters?
yes, it's a completely separate game. It is called Pro Wrestling the Mega Cartridge, but it is for the Sega Master System.
Okay. Throw it at me. I'm in. All right, Georgie, what do you say we put a bow on it? They've been hearing our voices long enough. I need another glass of water or beer or something.
Yeah, I gotta go scream about the Islanders winning.
And the Islanders won, and we're going to the second round.
But before we throw it home, Nick, thank you very much for coming and hanging out with us again for another video game. Hopefully this game was a little better than some of the other ones that we've made you come on and play. Let everybody know where they can find you.
I'll have you know, George, the only one I had a problem with was Backyard Wrestling, and that's because I hated it even as a child.
Oh, I forgot. You were the only one that liked Backstage Assault.
Yeah. Well, that's different. I didn't hate that as a kid. I just thought it was a silly game, but silly is good sometimes. I'm at Nick Stapp OK on the internet. You could find me every Thursday around between 11 a.m. and like 1 p.m. Off the Hop Rope Podcast, friends of this show, as Game Marks is friends of our show. I don't know. Just follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I update Twitter a lot to let everyone know what I'm doing or what I'm not doing, as it were, lately, because nobody's really doing much of anything nowadays. And that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, every Monday night, Cap TV, Creative Pro YouTube channel. Bam.
Woo!
Those are my plugs. And,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do us for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. It is currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast. And be sure to follow along on all social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. Thank you very much, Nick Stapp. Thank you very much to Danny Doring. Johnny Clash, thank you for sitting through a half-hour Clash at the Feast, absolute hammerlock, wristlock war with me. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us this week. Nick, say goodbye to everybody.
This has been Extreme.
Johnny, send us home.
Game over. Max.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the Clash at the Feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.